all you see is the players on TV playing. You don't really know what they're like outside of basketball. So I think that's the most fun part, is like telling the story of what people don't see, what might be on TV or, on live streams and stuff like that.
1985, Villanova shocks the world by upsetting Georgetown.
1996, Princeton Tigers upsets UCLA Bruins.
In 1997, Coppin State upsets South Carolina.
2018, the first ever number 16 seed UMBC upsets number 1 University of Virginia.
Everyone loves a great underdog story, the huge upsets, David beating Goliath. But what happens when there are no upsets? When the only people you get to see and hear from are famous people, the superstars, the head coaches, the celebrities. Are their stories more important? Do they matter more? Everyone puts in the same work, the same time, the same sweat. So who hears their stories? From the walk-ons, the assistant coaches, the role players, the 10th man off the bench. Everyone has a story and everyone has a voice. And on this podcast, you will meet these people, you will hear their stories in their own voices.
This is Underrated.
Welcome to Underrated. I am your host, Ray Hutter, along with my co-host who yesterday, if you saw him playing hoops the way I did, he was unstoppable, Mr. David Capers.
I appreciate you, Ray. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, I was not happy with the way you played because you won a lot of games yesterday in our pickup run.
But I told you as soon as I started that it was going to be a show for you because I was feeling really good.
Well, we'll see what happens next weekend. Well, welcome everybody again. This is our show Underrated, and again, want to shout out our sponsors, our Chile sunglasses, and Faith. We would love to send you a pair of sunglasses. So we're actually going to show you somehow, the brand. Go to the website, pick a pair of sunglasses, and we'll send them to you. Also, Echo Flow, where we have our studio. Just a shout out to them. If you want to rent the studio, you can send an email to Underrated Podcast and reach out to the members there, and they'll take care of you. Make sure that you get a good deal. If you mention Underrated, they might give you, even a better deal, but we'll see what happens. So tonight is a first for all of us. We're doing a remote podcast with a very special guest. We've been trying to have her come multiple times, but everybody's scheduled. It's the summer, people are traveling, but very happy to introduce our guest, and I hope I say her name right. I've been practicing. Faith Masonius. Welcome, Faith.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for coming. We're really happy. And so for the audience, if you hear any technical glitches, we're working through some things, but we'll see what happens. We'll have a good time. We'll have a lot of fun. So, Faith, not sure that, you've seen this. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. We're just starting out here with David and myself. But Underrated is basically a podcast where we give a voice to people that people may not know of or may have not heard their amazing stories. We've done some research. We know that you're a pretty big influencer. You got a lot of followers. So, we're excited to talk about that and have some fun tonight. All right. So Faith, if you could go ahead and just introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll just start the conversation.
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. You love to chop it up, especially when it comes to sports and all that. But I am Faith Masonius. I grew up in a small town, Spring Lake, New Jersey, where my parents still live at. I played basketball my entire life, grew up in a huge family. I'm one of 10 kids, so very competitive family we got over here. So I think I definitely carried that over into my sports life, but played basketball at the University of Maryland for 5 years, and then played my last year, my 6th year, at Seton Hall University, and I had a great run. Basketball is not too much in my future, but who knows, maybe in a different realm of coaching or just being a part of it. But yeah, I'm just excited to share my story, and I'm really happy to be here.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So it's interesting because because I have a son who is 23 years old, and he was a senior in high school during COVID, right? That COVID just started in like the winter of 2020. And I know, I think you started your college career like 2019, 2020. Can you just talk a little bit about what it was like to be recruited, how you chose Maryland first, and just talk a little bit about the impact of COVID and if there was any, for you physically or with your team and so on.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy because COVID feels like it was years ago, but I was in college when it happened. It cut my freshman year short. We were about to pack up and head to the NCAA tournament. We just got back from the Big Ten tournament where we won the championship. And we were in practice, and our AD came into practice. We're like, oh no, something's happening. Like, we all heard about COVID, didn't know what was about to happen. Then we got called in for a team meeting and they told us you're going home for a few weeks. We don't know what's going to happen or what's the world's going to be like after this. So we got sent home and everything changed. We had to quarantine, stayed at my parents' house for months. Nobody really knew. There was just a lot of what ifs. But once, everything started opening up more, we went back to school and we had workouts, we had masks, we had to be the social distancing. We had to work out with these paper masks on where you're trying to get a good workout in, hyperventilating, sweat dripping down in your mask and your eyes and your mouth. It was a lot, but there were so many protocols. We had to get COVID tested every single day. We had to stay in our apartments. We weren't allowed to talk to other people outside of the bubble of, the people who were getting tested. So it was a lot, and it does feel like it was so long ago, but it was like a part of my huge story of college, so it was definitely impactful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Did that have a mental impact on you as far as playing basketball or?
I mean, I think it taught me especially to appreciate the sport when it was taken away, and in an aspect, I didn't get to play my first NCAA tournament. So it was definitely just having appreciation for something that could be taken away in a blink of an eye. You never know what could happen, so
So let's talk a little bit about how you were recruited, because even 6 years ago, recruiting now has changed. We've talked about it almost every podcast that we've talked to or we've had, where with the NIL, with the portal, it's totally changed. So back in 2019, how did you choose Maryland? What other schools were you looked at or being recruited by?
yeah, I mean, oh gosh, I don't even the schools I don't even remember, but there was just a bunch of different schools, even from, I played basketball my whole life, and you'd have random schools. My mom is getting contacted by these schools, but she would never tell me because she didn't want me, to get all in my head and think that it's just going to come automatic. So I think the recruiting process was definitely a difficult one. You're a teenager in high school, you're trying to make these large decisions for yourself, for your future, and you're just a kid at that point. So having so many different coaches, and my mom, who has been a coach, played basketball her whole life, gone through the recruiting process, having those people help you and guide you through that process was definitely something I'm very grateful for. It was hard, September 1st was the date. I don't even know if it's still a thing anymore, but September 1st, you have all these coaches calling and texting you, and it's the first official day they're allowed to actually personally contact you. So it's a lot, and my mom made sure I had a list of who I talked to, what kind of questions they asked me, if it was something as far as, them offering me a scholarship to their school. So I had a lot of guidance in that in that realm, which was very nice, but it could be very overwhelming. And I know a lot of different people either love to be in that process and, extend it for as long as they can. But for me personally, I was kind of like, okay, if I know what I want, I'm getting this over with. So yeah, it was a lot, but I had to do it twice. The second time was definitely easier time around.
Yeah. So I know I'm not sure if Ray knows this, but me and you have a common thread, right? As far as Coach Green was my high school coach. How did you get involved with Coach Green, and tell me about the impact that he had on your career?
Yeah, oh gosh, Bob, love him, gotta love him. I think I might have been either in the 4th grade or 5th grade. We had a mutual coach who knew Bob and then was one of my coaches. He brought him to practice, and I just remember that first practice, it was probably 90 degrees in the gym. We're sprinting up and down the court, doing full court layups, and he's been in my life ever since. He has been such a role model. Even his daughters and his family have just we're all a big family now. He really just inspires and leads, and we used to be in his backyard, jumping in sand pits, throwing heavy balls off the backboard. We'd be in the park on a rainy day with 20 other girls running drills. So he definitely instilled a lot of values in me that carried on through college and taught me a lot of things that I didn't even know I was being taught in the moment, but in the end, I'm like, "Oh, it all makes sense now." So, yeah, just having coaches and role models and mentors like that is I'm very grateful for. I'm very grateful for him.
And Bob's a good guy.
So, what does he mean to you?
He's still like a father figure to me. He kind of taught me how to be. He taught me how to be a really good basketball player, right? He taught me how to just um be more responsible for my team and being out how to lead. Right? He always wanted me to be. He always knew I was a hard worker, but he wanted me to know that if I led by my examples, then I ain't really have to be that vocal because I wasn't a vocal person, but I let my play do the talking. And he let me be who I was, but he just taught me all my values as a basketball player.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's always important to have a mentor, and
yeah,
you're returning that favor now as you do, clinic kids and just your coaching and other things. So, I mean, it's always great to have somebody like that in your life. And I mean, we all have it. We all have that one person that we remember, like, oh wow, if it wasn't for this person, I don't know where I would be. So it's great, and it's ironic that and obviously that's how we got connected to have you on the show.
another 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, that's great. So
Small world. It is a small world.
she probably could beat you. She probably can.
I don't know about that.
We have to get you up. So every Saturday we play basketball. Saturday mornings at 7:30, and so it's a bunch of former college players, and we all just get together. But the moment the ball is tipped, we all become like we want to win, and
No
it's
one's
very
friend.
competitive.
Oh, I believe it. Nobody's friends.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then we talk a lot of trash. But yesterday, this young man was unbelievable. So, we like to see that still. So, switching back to you. So, your first year, you win the Big Ten, but your NCAA tournament's canceled. You have a ton of accolades and a lot of awards throughout your career. We've had people on the show where they've talked about how difficult it's been making that adjustment from high school into college, where they thought, high school they were the best player on the team. They come to college and now everybody's just as good. So, how did you keep yourself motivated? And with COVID and how the world changed, how did you just every day get through that grind to be so successful?
Again, I think it's always about having the people around you. If you have people around you who are, putting the good things in your ear, because sometimes you have people who are just telling you what you want to hear and not telling you what you need to hear. But having people like Coach Green, my mom, just my family and like that support system telling me like, look, you're not the best player anymore. You need to find something that is going to get you on the floor. You're going to need to be great at something that the team doesn't have. You gotta, like, be a valuable piece and add something. So, for me, my role completely changed from high school to college. In high school, I had a bigger role. I basically played 1 through 5, and when I got to college, I was undersized. I was small. I had no experience. The pace was out of control, and I'm just in this whole new environment. I don't know anybody. I've never played with any of these girls, so kinda just, like, looking at myself in the mirror and be like, "Okay, what can I do?" And I feel like my role going into college was you need to be the hustler, you need to be the person who's gonna dive on the floor, you need to do the little things, talk. My freshman year, I was just a little freshman, I was the new kid on the block, but I would never shut up. I was always talking, I was loud, I was like, "I don't care what these people think, I'm gonna be loud." So that was something I kinda had to take on going into college.
Yeah, that's great. So you're at Seton Hall, or I'm sorry, you're at Maryland. You play there. How did you decide then to go to Seton Hall?
Well, from Maryland, I had a great experience. I loved it. I've definitely grown as a basketball player and as a person. It was, a great 5 years. But for me, at the time, I was thinking, I might want to get into coaching. I just wanted something different, moving closer to home, being closer to my family. I kind of thought, I'm like, look, I not missed out on 5 years, but I get really bad FOMO. So when I see my family together, I'm like, I want to be with them. Like, could this be something I could go closer to home? I think it was time for me to be able to grow. I needed to change my environment. And I think it was ultimately like one of the best things I ever did. But going back, to my original recruiting process, Tony Bozzella, the Seton Hall coach, I had talked to him. I had been to games. It's 45 minutes up the parkway. So went to games. I talked to him, and then once he found out I was in the portal, he called me immediately. He was the first coach I talked to after I got in the portal. He's like, "You're coming here. I need you here. Like, you're the best." I'm like, "No, you're the best." Like, he was just so awesome to talk to, and oh, it was honestly an easy decision. I was really happy of what with my decision. It was a blessing to be back home.
Were there any other schools in the area, like maybe Rutgers or St. John's that you was looking?
Funny. So actually, no, not Rutgers, not St. John's. I actually was truly between Villanova and Seton Hall. Those were definitely my top two, and those were big ones too during my first process. I knew I wanted to come closer to home. So I had schools calling, like I had Oregon calling, I had some like Washington teams, some teams down south, like Florida State. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. Like, I want to go closer to home. Like, it is a hard pill to swallow because I'm like, these are great schools, they're great basketball teams, but ultimately I knew what I wanted, and that was to come home.
So, I know we've done some research or whatever. Can you talk about everybody when we looked up at stuff, this buzzer beater thing? Can you talk about the big buzzer beater that everybody talks about? And I haven't seen video of it yet, but just talk about it because it seems like that's tied to you.
It's funny because I'm sitting here telling you I was between Seton Hall and Villanova, and the buzzer beater that I hit was actually on Villanova, at Villanova, and it was a tough decision because those were the only 2 schools that I had visited when I was looking, in the transfer portal. So, yeah, it was I can't remember if it was January. I think it was January 1st, so go brand new 2025. I'm like, "Okay, let's start this year off good. Let's get a win. Let's go home." Tie game, oh my gosh, I don't even know how much time was on the clock, but watching the video back, it's, like, so surreal. I hit, like, a backwards shot. Everyone's like, "This is a fluke. No way she, like, made that." I'm like, "Guys, little do you know, like, I shoot this all the time." Like, it's so funny. It was just so crazy. Like, that was the craziest thing I've ever experienced. I think that's my only buzzer beater that I can, like, remember, definitely in college, but it was a lot of fun, and at the time, I didn't even realize we were winning. I thought we were going into overtime. So but and in the end,
All your teammates all your teammates are jumping up and down, and you're like, "What, for overtime?" You know?
that's what I was saying, and I'm like, "Wait." They're like, "No, we won." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like, that was so awesome. I will never forget that.
Yeah, we're gonna have a link definitely. Yeah, I think we're gonna link out to that so that everybody can relive it. Have you had any buzzer beaters?
Yeah, actually, I had one in high school with Bob. We won a parochial B championship off of one of my guys missed a shot and I caught it and put it back in. Well, it was a jump shot and I hit it and we won. It was
Yeah.
parochial B chip.
So Dave was the first person that we interviewed on the podcast because I don't know if you're aware of this since we're very old, but so Dave played at St. Bonaventure and against Kentucky in the NCAA tournament, he hit 3 foul shots with like point 0.6 seconds left to send it into a second overtime, and that's how like this podcast like started from us talking, and I was like, you know what? That's a great story that nobody knows. And so fast forward, we're now on the podcast together. So it was
So
a lot of
awesome.
fun. So
Ice
yeah,
and
that's
experience, that's crazy.
So I know you're a sibling of you have 10 siblings, right?
Yes. Well, I'm one of 10, 9 siblings, same thing.
So how many girls and boys?
5 and 5, dead split.
Now, who's the best basketball player out of all 10?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say me.
or
Well, it is crazy because not all of us play basketball. You would imagine, like, oh, big family, you guys used to play all the time. No, like, we have a very mixed sports family.
Okay.
what other sports?
Oh god, we got hockey. My brother played hockey at UConn. A few of my sisters played. So my younger sister plays at Bucknell now. My older sister played at Wagner. My brother played lacrosse and football in college. He just graduated. So whole bunch of sports. He's had some baseball too.
That bloody family.
Yeah, right. I mean, gosh, great parents, great parents. It's a great job.
We're blessed.
So let's talk about what are you doing today now that are you still in school? You graduated?
So I just finished my first year out of 2 getting my second master's degree, my MBA from Seton Hall. I still have one more year left. Don't know exactly when that will be done, but it definitely will be getting done. Just want to make sure my mom knows that too. It will definitely be getting done. But this would be yeah, a lot of years of college. I mean, 6 years. I got my extra year from COVID. I tore my ACL, so I got that year back. But it is nice because I was able to I got my undergrad, I got my first master's from the University of Maryland, and then now I'm getting my second. It's not done yet, but
So that's interesting. So you tear your ACL. You've been through COVID. You tear your ACL. How do you keep getting back up every time it seems like you get knocked down?
there's nothing else you're supposed to do. You just gotta get back up and keep pushing. I mean, there's definitely a lot of downs, but it doesn't it doesn't beat the ups, you know? You just gotta get up and keep fighting.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually had a conversation about this at work about that. Like, it's like you're like a unique person just because, like, we'll say as we're older, right? Like our generation, we had to walk like 40 miles to school in the snow or whatever. But it is unique to have somebody that continues to get up, continues to battle, continues to grind it out. When a lot of people do give up, or they just say, you know what, I can't take this anymore. I'm done. I'm gonna find something else to do. So, I guess is it just the 9 other siblings, or is it just how you were raised where you're just like, I'm gonna fight through it. I'm always just gonna end up think positive and make sure that we get through this, and I'm always gonna be successful.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that is definitely the way I was raised and how I grew up. I didn't really have any other choice. You pull yourself together, almost having that mindset. But again, I'm telling you, it always goes back to the people you surround yourself with. I was blessed to have amazing, sports medicine team who was helping me get through my injuries and even get through COVID. Like that was a lot. Our team used to have team meetings all the time. Everyone would check in with each other. We'd literally be on Zooms and FaceTimes when Zoom was basically created during COVID, checking in. So really just having those people to keep you motivated and keep you grounded.
Yeah, no, that's very important.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any aspirations of playing like in the WNBA or playing basketball after college?
I did. I think I definitely did in high school. I was like, you know what? I would love to be drafted. Like, that would be so amazing. But then I think once I got to college, not reality hit, but it was almost my mom always told me when I went to college was you need to go somewhere that you're gonna love, even if basketball was one day taken away from you. So she was basically preparing me like, what if you were to get injured? Would you love the school? Would you love the people you're around? And crazy enough, I got injured and I really like that was when I first had to look in the mirror and be like, Who are you outside of basketball player?" Because for my whole life, I was Faith. I'm a basketball player, but now I'm Faith. I have all these other things that I know now in my life that, I can do, I like to do outside of my sport. So I think once I got to college, my goals and aspirations of playing kind of started to go down a little bit. Because for everybody, basketball ends one day. And that day, I think, has come. I had conversations. I do have an agent because I was so up in the air if I wanted to play. The first conversation I had with him, and I was like, "Look, I don't know if I want to play basketball overseas. Like, I don't know if this is it for me." He was like, "Look, if you have the opportunities, I want to bring them to you. I want to bring you the choices." So there was some teams overseas that I was talking to, and I'm just like, I'm not feeling it anymore. I don't know. I'm ready to move on with my life at this point. So they were there, but now they're gone.
Well, it's interesting because we talked. So our last episode, we had a gentleman named Kashif Hamid who played at Iona. Back then it was Iona College, but now I think they call it Iona University. But he does a lot with clinic kids. There's a links out there from the last episode, And a lot of it, he was talking about the same thing, just about mental health, but coming to terms about who I am as a whole person and not just the basketball player. Because everybody knew him as Cash, the basketball player. But then he's like, he said a lot of athletes have a hard time. I mean, we talked about it, that transition of like, and you played overseas, and like when you finally know, like, okay, you know what? I'll play pickup, but it's coming to an end, and I got to figure the rest of my life out. And obviously, you're well onto that with your double masters that you're going for here. But can you talk a little bit more about kind of what that feeling is now, where you're like, everybody came and talked to me. There was that opportunity, but now I'm just like, it's time to move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird and I have to come to the realization that like, okay, it gotta come to terms with basketball might be over for me and that's okay. It's gonna end one day and I just like have to know myself well enough to be like, it's time." Um, there is this little like weird in between stage that I'm at right now. And I'm like, okay, well now what do I want to do? I know all these things that I like to do. Now, what can I do for a living? What can I do for my life? Or even like finding things like clinics and stuff like that. Like maybe I still like basketball. I would still enjoy maybe coaching a team here or there, throwing some clinics. I'm actually running a clinic this upcoming week, so it's stuff like that that I'm trying to find joy in. But yeah, it's like almost that weird stage from leaving college and you're like, okay, what now, because I just played basketball for a living. Now what am I supposed to do? So hopefully that schooling comes in handy.
Yes.
Do you play any pickup?
I actually do. Me and my family, we actually go to the park a lot and we'll play twos, we'll play threes.
Okay.
I've been playing in a league in New York City, so that's been fun. It's a bunch of overseas players who it's like a whole tournament. I played in this 3-on-3 tournament on the streets of New York City. So I'll play, but for me I want it to be fun again, and I feel like it wasn't fun anymore. It was more I'm just doing it because I have to. But now I'm finding the joy in playing basketball, and it's because it's not so serious.
Right. Yeah.
So what does Faith like to do when it's not basketball? Like what are your hobbies? What's your thing?
My thing, this is so, new and very social media like, but I very much enjoy creating content. I'm the girl who's always trying to capture the moments and kind of like tell a story through videos. I'm very much a TikTok gal. I mean I just love spending time with my family and being able to like capture those moments that you can look back on and be like, that was a lot of fun. So I'm definitely that person that I don't know, I'm very adventurous. I like to obviously live in the moment, but capture some clips.
Are you always carrying your phone around and always like anytime the mood strikes, you're just like, let me get this?
Yeah, but it's also the point, like, I've definitely it's this is a funny topic of conversation, but it's like the social media aspect or like content creating. I have been like not struggling, but trying to balance like living in the moment and like capturing the moment. So it's almost like I'll put my phone back there and have it recording. So I'll just be in the moment, but it's on video.
That's awesome. Well, it's interesting. So you mentioned Rutgers, but I have a friend of mine that went to Rutgers, and he was saying that he got a call that journalism majors, like students, were calling former alumni to like basically journal their life because famous people, infamous people, they're in the news, whatever, their life is captured. But like people like us that are just like everyday people, like who tells their story? And so it's an interesting thing where, like, back in the day, we had like typewriters, and then maybe a word processor, like, but now everything is all digital. So you're able to capture stuff real time and create this like real life diary, if you would. Whereas like us, we had the Polaroids where you take a picture and the
Memories.
right,
We still use
these are
those.
both. Yeah, but so it is a different world, but it's great that you're doing that because you get to kind of capture, everything and have it there for you. So when years from now, you're able to go back and, go back to that moment right away. Sure.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, what can I do with that? What can I, hopefully one day make a career out of? But I think also too, just like wanting to impact people. I think a lot more can be done with, the social media, the content creation, like the footage, like that kind of stuff. So much more can be done with it than people even realize. So just hopefully making an impact on people one day, or even like sharing my story. I did a lot of stuff on when I was a player, stuff we would go through, just like basically like my lifestyle as a college basketball player. And I think that was what kind of like grabs people's attention and be like, okay, this is something new. This is something people don't see. Like all you see is the players on TV playing. You don't really know what they're like outside of basketball. So I think that's the most fun part, is like telling the story of what people don't see, what might be on TV or on live streams and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's a lot of fun. So, I guess, where do you see yourself like 3 years, 5 years down the road? Or do you just kind of live in the moment? You take it one day at a time.
See, that's what I've been telling people. They're like, "What are you up to?" I'm like, "Living life. I'm taking the break I've never had." So honestly, like looking forward to those 3 to 5 years. It is scary thinking about it because 'cause I'm like, "Really, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing." I'm trying to figure that out now, but I'm very much living the moment. Uh, Still figuring that one out, so I don't have an answer to that question, but I'm happy.
So that's fair. That's a fair thing. I mean, why rush, right? You're living your best life. I mean, my kids tell me that all the time. They're like, "Dad, don't worry about it. I'm good. I'm living my best life." And I'm like, "Yeah, but your best life doesn't pay the rent, my friend."
Sometimes it can.
Yeah,
Sometimes it
that is
can.
true. That is true. So, are you somebody? Do you have like a lot of sponsorships, or is your content like drawing that where you can make somewhat of a living off of that?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I think it started off maybe like a few years ago. When I first tore my ACL is actually when I started recording everything. I used to record on my computer all the time, but I'd never post it. So I'm like, I'm doing the same thing now. I'm just posting online for people to see. But yeah, I think once you just start posting, you're like, I don't really care what I'm posting. I'm just showing you my life. It does bring in certain companies that wanna work with you. I've done multiple, like, partnership deals, even, like, when I was in college, NIL became a thing, so we were actually allowed to get paid for stuff like that, so just working with really cool companies. Yeah, it definitely helps, pays the rent,
Yeah, no.
hoping for more.
Ask you. I was gonna ask you, did you just miss the NILs or
So, I can't was it my junior year? I feel like it was my junior year, but I had 3 years after my junior year, so I actually was in the middle of college, and I was doing this thing and all I hear is NIL and I'm like, "What is that?" All I heard was money. So I'm like, "I need to learn about this." It was honestly like it's so crazy to me how much money athletes can be making now. Like not even no social media, just based off how well and how much somebody wants you on their team. So I definitely got to experience NIL, but in the front end of it, so people are still trying to figure it out. But hey, I liked it.
So that's a topic that we always talk about, and it would be interested to get your perspective because if you had to, you said possibly want to get into coaching. So if you were talking to, a young athlete, what would you tell them as far as recruiting? Because we talk about this all the time with like high school kids right now with the portal, NIL deals, all of that stuff. A lot of high school kids are not getting recruited like they used to because the first thing is check the portal. And then from there, right? I mean, we talked to Ricky Johns, who's our friend, his assistant at St. John's, and he says that's all they're looking for is people from the portal. So unless you're like that superstar Cooper Flag type of person coming out of high school, so what would you advise, young kids as they're trying to, possibly play at the next level?
Yeah, I think it's a hard situation to be in because you definitely see schools that are only looking at the portal. They want the experience. They want those people who have been in college and know what's happening. I don't know. It is definitely a hard situation to be in. I think you kind of just have to put your head down and go to work. And I think sometimes even learning about NIL, you need to put yourself out there. So if it's you having to reach out to coaches or like figuring out connections, but just staying the course. It's such a new thing because the transfer portal is such a big deal now due to NIL that it's these high schoolers are trying to figure it out. Less and less kids are getting recruited, so that means you just have to continue to separate yourself. And I think now, even with NIL in the transfer portal, so many people think they just deserve so much off the bat. But at the end of the day, it's what have you really proved? You know what I mean? Like you hear stories about somebody who played at maybe a Power 5 school who average 5 minutes and they're going to, maybe a lower division school and they're like, I want 20, $100,000. We're like, no, I just think I don't know. You kind of have to prove yourself in a way. You can't just be handed things. Maybe that's just how I was raised, but you kind of got to work for it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if it's like that today though. They give you all this money just off of potential, and a lot of people, like you said, they don't deserve it. And this is what's sad is that a lot of college athletes don't realize that will be their biggest paycheck.
right, yeah.
And then they're gonna have a reality check when they come back down to earth, and nobody's offering that 6-figure deal to go play in a third world country or whatever country you go to.
Right, yeah. Yeah. So with your MBA, I mean, do you think like you may start, or maybe you already have like thinking like you might start your own business, or you may start like, trying to help these younger kids try to navigate through the whole NIL and portal and take your experiences to try to get them to, where they want to be.
Yeah, I mean, starting my own business has definitely been something I've wanted to do. Exactly what it is, I'm not there yet, but that's definitely something I have thought about in the past and would love to use my MBA skills to achieve. So we'll see. Maybe it could be something as on the lines of, helping kids navigate NIL or how to there's so many aspects of NIL that I had to just like teach myself or learn like for the I don't have an agent, I don't have a manager, I don't have stuff like this that so many people have now for NIL specifically. So for me, it's like I kind of just threw myself in there and was teaching myself, like you have to talk to companies, you have to reach out, you have to negotiate, look at, so many contracts and stuff like that. I've never done any of that before NIL, so maybe it's something, teaching people how to do all these things.
There you go. Well, we joke around, right? We always say anyone who's on this podcast, their career,
Skyrocket.
yeah. I mean, we only have like, I think a couple hundred or not even.
I'm
We're
looking
trying to get
forward
there.
to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, Faith, if you can go back and you can look at your younger self, right? You can transport back into the past. What would you tell your younger self? Like,
I would
let's
probably
say 10 years ago.
10 years. Is this basketball wise or overall?
Eh, Basketball or in general, whichever one you want.
Okay, I think first of all for basketball, stop being so nice. I think for me, I was always like the nice girl, not even basketball, maybe in general. Just trying to be the nice girl, trying to make sure everybody's content, but at the end of the day, I wasn't doing what was best for me. So stop being so nice all the time. You gotta be mean sometimes to get what you need, get what you want. That and also, I don't know, I think just enjoy the moment. I've definitely learned that throughout college that just like enjoying my time with the people around me is, the memories are all you have at the end of the day. So yeah. Just enjoy life. There's gonna be a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but just enjoy the ride.
Do you stay in touch? Speaking of that, do you stay in touch with a lot of your former players at Maryland and also now Seton Hall, even though you're still going there?
Yeah, no, definitely. I met some of my best friends. I met my fiance at Maryland, so definitely keep in touch. We talk all the time. One of my teammates just got traded in the W, so we're like, "Girl, what's going on? Like, are you good?" Yeah, just checking in on everybody. It is really nice because, when I have all these teammates who are going to play in all these different countries, I'm like, "Ooh, I could go here, I could go there." Like, look around the map, I'm like, "Ooh, I know somebody there, someone in Italy, Slovenia." It's a lot of fun. So, yeah, definitely.
That's great. That's great. So we're gonna switch to our final segment. We call it overrated, underrated. And again, it's sponsored by our Chile sunglasses. And by the way, in a couple weeks, we're gonna make an announcement about a new sponsor.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So more to come on that. So hopefully, that goes well. I hope when this gentleman sees the podcast, I hope he remembers that he told me he was. So we'll see what happens. But so just what we do is like just 5 things. We're gonna say like, one word or, we'll bring up some topic and then we just want you to say overrated, underrated. Although we do give everybody, because we're kind of nice, we do give somebody or we give people the chance to explain their views. So, Capers, why don't you start off with the first one?
You started off.
All right, I'm going to start off because even though I'm a little older, I think I have better eyesight. So, that's what talking smack here. So I guess start off with WNBA, overrated, underrated.
Definitely underrated. 100%. That one is a little self-explanatory. We're on the ups though, which I love.
Yeah, and they're extending what two different teams, right? They're adding two different teams to the
Yeah,
league. So
below.
there you go.
Definitely, there's definitely not enough roster spots for all the talent.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark and Reese, so-called beef.
It's very blown out of proportion. I'm gonna have to say overrated. 100%. It's the game of basketball. You got two. If you have two guys fighting, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be in the social media, but they're not gonna drag that on for their entire career. They're gonna look at them as
It's
basketball.
like every day you look at the sports section, there's always like,
Yeah.
4 weeks ago, the fourth quarter, they, walked by each other and like didn't smile, and next thing
They,
that's like a thing in the paper.
I mean, hey, any media is good media, so they're talking about it. Give them something to talk about.
That is true. That is true. All right. NIL portal, overrated, underrated.
Whew. I'm gonna have to say the people use it, how the way people use it is overrated. But for the athletes, underrated because I have to explain this one. For the athletes, it's underrated because, if you're good and you have good people around you, you can make a lot of money. But overrated with people are just losing like all value in human connections and like being a good fit. They're just looking for the money. So in that aspect,
All right, very good. Social media.
underrated. Social media is a very powerful place. There's a lot of different things you could do with it.
Yes, and just before I get to the very last one, just a reminder, since we have Faith here, to like, subscribe, share. Let's get us out there. I want to retire so I can like travel and see friends all over the world too. Yeah, right. So I'm not a big superstar. I didn't play Division 1, but like you guys.
This is underrated though, right?
Well, yes, underrated. So it's very important. All right, so Faith, this one I like to cause controversy. So this last one is going to be Maryland versus Seton Hall.
Oh man. Where's the underrated, overrated?
Are they overrated or underrated? This
Oh, very much underrated. They are two great schools with a lot of amazing people.
is a very safe answer, Faith.
Hey, it's the right answer. I very much enjoyed my time at both of them.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, listen, I mean, thank you so much. I know, it's late at night. We appreciate your time on a weekend. And thank you so much for allowing us and fitting us into your schedule. We had a lot of fun. I hope you did too.
Yes.
Cape, any parting words since you guys have that Jersey connection?
No, just thank you for coming on. You've been excellent. And again, Bob Green, special guy in our hearts.
The man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So again, please like, subscribe, share. But thank you so much for your time, and we wish you the best. And hopefully, we get to come back maybe 6 months to a year, and we're still doing this. And we'll see. We'll see where your career has moved on to and what you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
And if you want to play pickup Saturday morning,
Yeah,
I might have to take you up on that.
hey, we can always use an extra player.
Hey,
right.
might have to
All
take
right.
you up.
Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.